Welcome to Zoom into a Career, a series designed to introduce students to a culture of high achievement and highlight the many different career pathways available to them. I am Jolyn Hopkins here at Yelm Community Schools, and today we have Karen Macomb with Integrated Bookkeeping, and she's going to talk to us about her life as a bookkeeper. So before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is Zoom is being recorded, and a link to the video will be posted on our website for future viewing. So thank you, Karen, for joining us today and being able to talk with our students. Really appreciate you.
Jolyn.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here. A lot of students, it's really hard for them to get out and talk to business people, and so this is really neat that you could come in and give them that opportunity.
Yes, it's definitely a challenging time, especially to meet with other professionals and to really get out and get to shadow and job shadow and whatnot. And my field tends to be a little difficult to job shadow because of privacy and confidentiality. So I'm glad that I can come in and share just a little bit about what I do and what ingrained bookkeeping is in our community. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So as we can just jump in, I see you've made us a PowerPoint, so we have something to look at. That's always good. Visual aids are always a good thing. We like visual aids. Tell us a little bit about your company and what role you have with them.
So ingrained bookkeeping, let me see if I can get my PowerPoint to cooperate. I apologize. Well, that didn't do it. There it is. So ingrained bookkeeping started in 2019, and I started this business to support other small business owners. My goal initially was nationwide. It really has kind of zeroed in on the Northwest and specifically the South Sound. And when I have spoken with high schoolers in the past, there is kind of a disconnect with what bookkeeping is. I've had some ask me if I'm a librarian or if I just own a bookstore. And so what I do is I offer bookkeeping services, which is essentially money management services, which include bank reconciliations, posting to general ledgers, journal entries, posting earnings records, preparing the monthly financial statements and the annual financial statements for tax prep, as well as filing of state and local taxes here and in their independent states as well. And then I also do a little bit of consulting, which has really kind of increased in the last few months with our current climate on, cost cutting, growth strategies, as well as diversification, and more recently, applications for various financial programs available. So for my portfolio, my business serves 12 businesses in Thurston County, 2 in Pierce, 1 in Clark County, which is the Vancouver kind of metropolitan area, and then 1 in Oregon on the coast. So I have a total of 16 businesses that I'm currently serving. They range in size from being a 1-person sole proprietor shop to corporations. And on average, my clients have gross sales of about $350,000 a year. Some are less, some are larger than that in their receipts. So there's a little bit about my business and what it does. Now myself, I own the business, as well as am the principal bookkeeper at this point. And you had sent a little request about what my experience was. So in 2005, I worked in banking, and I did that for a few years before I was recruited from the bank by a hotel in Cannon Beach to be their bookkeeper. And I did that for another couple years prior to leaving the workforce to start a family and have kids. Then in 2013, I went back into the workforce as a residential financial services manager for a nonprofit on the Oregon coast. And that position had me essentially doing bookkeeping for 45 individuals, managing their personal finances. It was a very fun job. It was a very challenging job. Um, it gave me a lot of flexibility with helping these individuals reach their individual goals, as well as making sure that they can budget to pay all their bills on a monthly basis. Then again, I left to focus on my family and my kids and came back in 2016 to working for the state of Washington, auditing applications for Medicaid. So as you see, the bulk of my professional career has all been in money and financial management. And so I've specifically worked in accounts payable, which is essentially bill pay, accounts receivable, documenting the sales of my various clients, or, you know, for the individuals I serve, their deposits, their paychecks and whatnot, budgeting, goal setting, audits, and then reconciliations, which is a fancy way to say balancing the checkbook, which I know is kind of an outdated term and not many people do that anymore, but in businesses, it's a really, really important thing to do to make sure that we are documenting every piece of income and every expense that goes in and out of the business. My education, what kind of brought me to this point, I graduated from Yelm High School in '98. I did some accounting studies at Clatsop Community College in '08, and then again at Centralia in 2018. And currently I'm a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all very interesting. I love how the range of businesses that you have, you know, small business, bigger businesses, working on the coast, working at the bank. There's a lot of different experiences that you could do with a accounting degree. I think a lot of people think that accounting, you just sit in an office and you just, you know, look at spreadsheets all day long, day in and day out. And it's, you know, a lot of people skills, it sounds like, that needs to go into that.
It really is. And I find that, you know, one of my biggest assets is, you know, prior to my professional positions, I spent a lot of time, you know, in high school and then in my early 20s and in college in customer service roles. And I think that's a piece that misses from a lot of professional studies is, you know, we really need to realize that serving people is really important.
Definitely. I have other questions for you, but do you want to go through your PowerPoint? Because I don't want to throw you off your rhythm of your slides.
Yeah, we can do that. So one of the questions that came up that you had presented to me was what's been kind of a recent challenge or a recent project I've been working on. And I know that this is something that we are all tired of seeing and hearing, and it's really affected the way that we all work and go to school and really socialize with other individuals. But coronavirus really kind of threw my business, threw it a little bit of a wrench. I went from focusing on, you know, documentation, which I still have to make sure I focus on for my clients as far as their income and their expenses. But then my consulting side of my business really took off. I realized early on with the CARES Act, which, you know, stands for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, was going to create a lot of questions for small business owners. And so in the early stages and even now, I have spent a lot of time reading over the CARES Act, as well as every piece of information I can get my hands on related to the economic injury disaster loan, as well as the Paycheck Protection Program and what that means to my clients. I've also done a lot of looking at unemployment. You know, self-employed individuals haven't been qualified for this in the past, and the coronavirus has changed that for them. And some of my clients have not they've not worked for someone else in 20 years. And so for them, filing for unemployment was that was a big hiccup in their world. Um, so I not only have helped my clients kind of navigate this process, I've provided them with the documentation they need to be able to apply for these loans and these programs. Um, and then now that some of them have been receiving it, I'm helping them to manage those proceeds to make sure they've got all the right information so that they, ideally can have loan forgiveness at the end and not have to pay back these funds. Um, so, that's kind of created a whole new kind of side to my business, and just making sure that I serve my clients appropriately. And I help them, really figure out their budgets and making sure that we can stretch their dollars, especially those. I've had several that were completely shut down in this program, during this time. And, they have little to no income coming in, and some of them are having to do refunds for, future things that are being canceled due to the coronavirus. So it's really created a whole new kind of leg to my business in consulting. I can say that most of my clients have received some sort of assistance, even if that's just unemployment. It's something that's helped them carry forward. Most have been able to adjust their business model and find new revenue streams so they can continue to pay their bills, and continue to support themselves and their families. And I'm hoping in the next week that all of my clients will be able to reopen to some capacity. Those in Pierce are really, they're really waiting right now for the government to open those doors. And I'm really hopeful in the next couple days that'll happen for them. As far as how that's affected me personally, I personally chose to suspend some revenues. I didn't collect some of my invoicing for some of my clients. I have about $1,400 that hasn't been collected to date. Um, that I anticipate will be collected hopefully when things reopen, but that really could be a loss for me. It's also caused me to kind of suspend hiring anybody. I had planned to hire somebody by this month of this year, and that's not going to happen at this point. So
Yeah, I think, I feel bad for the small businesses that the most, they've been really hit hard to this. I hope that they can pull through on the other end, but I worry every day that it's shut down makes that less of a possibility. What's it going to look for them on the other side? Are they going to be able to recover from this, or I don't know. Scary.
yeah.
How did you get into bookkeeping and accounting? What made you do that? Did you start with like finance classes in high school or what?
I wish I could tell you that I always knew this was something that I was going to get into. I really do. I fell into banking out of a need. I was out of work and I needed to have a job, and I pretty much was willing to take the first thing that came along, and banking was what I stepped into. Um, I was unaware how much I would enjoy it. Um, and until I was neck deep into it. And when the hotel came to recruit me away, they pretty much they offered me a financial package that I couldn't refuse. And so I went that direction. And you know through doing bookkeeping for them, I realized that really kind of numbers are what grounds me. That is what, when everything in the world is on its ear, I can go what's happening currently and kind of reset myself. And so, like I said, I wish I could tell you that I always knew this was where I was going to go. Um, I kind of wish that I would have had an idea of it and would have been able to take more kind of accounting and bookkeeping courses in my, in my late teens and early 20s. But I didn't really find out that this was my career path until I was in my late 20s. So,
I think a lot of people, their careers just kind of fall in their laps like that. I was in the same situation as you. My husband was in the military. We were stationed overseas, and he was a lowly little airman, and we needed extra money. So I took a job as a bank teller. But it was fun because we had, American dollars and Japanese yen. So I'm like, oh, this international business and banking, this is pretty cool. So that's why I went on and did some banking for a while too. But and then teaching just kind of fell in your lap too. It's funny, yeah, life just takes you down these paths that you might not have planned for, but end up being the best place where you need to be.
I agree completely. I do know that, when I was a student at Yelm, I did take, for some reason, I was just driven to take every math class that was in front of me. So I was constantly going through what was available at that time at Yelm High School. They did not have the CTE program wasn't really available. I don't remember there being many, if any, business classes available. I know FBLA had just started in Yelm Community Schools when I was in high school. But math was the one thing that, as I went through, that was the constant for me. So,
Cool. Can't go wrong with numbers.
nope, no, you can't. They don't lie.
No, they don't. Okay, what's this slide that we're looking at? Talking about industry challenges?
As everything becomes more computer based and automated, we're finding that, you know, everybody's got an app in their pocket. I pulled this off of my own personal Facebook news feed. QuickBooks here, and I use QuickBooks. I'm certified in QuickBooks. I send them several $100s a month. Um, and yet here in my news feed is them essentially attempting to compete with me as a business owner. So they offer small business owners bookkeeping as a package deal. You can pay for your QuickBooks subscription, and QuickBooks will have a bookkeeper that is a QuickBooks employee do your books for you. Now, so that is something I'm up against, on a regular basis, is, the automation, the software, the apps, as well as these corporate bookkeepers that are essentially employed by the very software that I utilize. And it's a bundled service. And so it becomes very enticing to pay one bill a month for most people. The other piece that I'm up against is bad press. So it seems, if I quickly Googled embezzlement, and these were the top two stories that have received a lot of press in the Yelm area in the last 12 months. Both of them came from October of last year, but honestly, these are ongoing stories that have been in our local news of professionals like myself that are unethical, and that really puts a bad light on everyone in my field when others, don't take the same precautions, or aren't nearly as serious about their business as I am. I take a lot of pride in the fact that my clients can trust me. I also have a lot of policies in place that prevent me from the ability to um, have access to their funds in this way. But still, it seems regularly that this comes up. And it's something that comes out pretty frequently in the news. So going forward from here, kind of my response to this, and I kind of talked about it earlier, customer service is really important. If I were to tell someone who's starting out in high school something. Um, every job is important. It doesn't matter if you are working for the movie theater or you're working at McDonald's, you can learn something from every job. And I feel like these jobs, when you are in high school, in your early college years, these are things that teach you life skills that you cannot lose in a class, or excuse me, you cannot learn in a classroom. Um, so you need to realize that no matter what happens with automation, your personality and your customer service will always win out. Someone will always want to speak with a person over the computer. And that it's really important to make sure that you are giving, every person, no matter what job you're in, that one-on-one attention. It's always your primary goal. That person always needs to feel like they have your full attention in that moment. And I tell my kids this pretty often now that they are growing up in Yelm, which, like I said, this is the community I grew up in. I was a Yelm student from kindergarten through high school. Your reputation is everything. And what you do now in high school and junior high, um, that that's noticed and that will follow you. It will follow you into an adulthood. They will trust people as you're coming back or as you're working. They will trust and they will give their business to who they know. And if they don't know you, they will find other people who know you and they will ask opinions. So always make sure that, whether you're, on a sports field or whether you're at your high school job or just driving down the street, people are watching you and that will follow you. So, and I guess that's really all I have to say, at least on from what I've prepared. Just, know that now that you're in high school, take as much business courses as you can. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would take college credits in high school. I would. It's paid for, at least subsidized, excuse me, um, by the school district and the state. Take those classes now and get them out of the way. If I could talk to myself as, a recent high school grad going to college and not sure what I wanted to do, take your general ed classes, try a couple things out, see if you like it. If you do, follow that path. Um, I have, three different majors. I changed my major 3 times. Um, and and honestly, never completed a degree in any of them, if I'm completely honest with you. Um, I am still a student. I probably will forever be a student. I'm hoping to complete my degree here in the next few years. Um, but man, if I could go back and talk to myself in my early 20s, I would take my gen ed classes and I would do as much as I could in high school with Running Start to get those things out of the way.
Yeah, thank you. We offer a lot of dual credit classes in the classroom, and then there's the AP classes and there's Running Start. There's lots and lots of opportunities students have that we didn't have when we were in high school that they can earn, more college credits, because college just seems like this big, lofty, something way out there that, whatever people talk about. But yeah, taking those classes in high school, it makes it easier. I think they see that it's really not as cumbersome, I guess, overwhelming as it could be.
I agree completely.
Yeah, and definitely the people skills. That's exactly what we teach them every day in school. Talk to people, get to know them. Thank you. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Uh, I am always here. I put my contact information up on this last slide. If you have students that are interested in, kind of a financial field, feel free to share my information. I am happy to talk to them. I really, really appreciate the CT program. and what you guys do in trying to connect local business owners with students. That is one piece that, I feel was lacking previously, and I really appreciate the district for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, feel like we have Terry Pablo to thank for that because we have such a great CTE department. I talked to other teachers at other schools and nobody comes close to what we have. Our business department is growing all the time and she's so supportive of, we got an idea, hey, let's do a new class. And she's like, oh, let's make it work. We'll see what we can do, get the numbers. And we've introduced a few new classes, the last couple of years because of their willingness to let us try. So yeah, it's really good.
And
You're assuming we go back to school in the building next year. Are your days free enough that you could maybe come in and visit or talk to the class or do something with our finance class?
I can definitely do that. I can definitely work my schedule to come in and be involved. So,
Great, thank you.
mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing your experience with our students.
Well, thank you for having me, and again, thank you guys for all your hard work to make sure that you connect us as community members and business owners with the students. That definitely means a lot.